Okay, we are going to start in about 4 minutes. I am here, but I'm messing with some stuff, so just bear with me. I like to have the 5 minutes there to just be able to make sure everything's set up appropriately. So I put my little post in there just to make sure things are working. I know there aren't very many people that come and look at this even later on, but I want it there just in case. So I've got my chat box open, I've got it working, and if anybody happens to pop in, I should be able to see it no matter what screen I'm in. I believe I put the chat box on every screen, whereas I think the first stream I did for this series, I did not have it. I think I had it on like one or two screens, so now that is fixed. Time to get going. Let's go to live screen. It's me. I'm Venus Brown. I'm back with another pre-watch for GenV season 5 or season 2, episode 5. we just finished episode 4 last week, and I will be talking a little bit about that. I did write notes this time, so just a little breakdown of how I'm going to lay this out. I'll talk a little bit about the previous episode. I'm going to put on the commercial that they had on Prime for episode 5. I have not watched that yet, so no spoilers if anybody happens to be on, but I'll go ahead and watch that right after I just have a brief touch up on what happened on episode 4. Just brief. Okay, after the commercial, we're going to do best, worst scenes, actors, things like that. And then I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole looking up stuff for Cypher, both the word itself and the character. So we'll talk a little bit about Cypher. We'll talk about what possibilities there might be for this coming episode, which should be on tonight, tomorrow morning, depends on where you're at. I am on the East Coast of the United States. It will be on at 3 a.m. I will not be up for that. If you're on the West Coast in like Washington or California, I believe that would be around midnight that is supposed to be dropped on Prime. So it's up to you. It's up to you if you're going to watch it. I will be watching it. I will be recording my reactions, but I am not going to be putting those reactions on until later. So it could be a while. But for right now, doing these pre-watches. Let's see. So last episode was called Bags. And the bags were these blood bags that Cypher was trying to get Marie to move without breaking in his special training for her. And I think the bags also were referring to considering humans as blood bags as well. Like, it was brought up in the episode several times, this idea that humans are a big old bag of blood. And that's going to go into that Cypher discussion later on. So just keep that in mind. All right. And the other thing that we talk about, the other thing that comes up in episode 4 is the consequences for what happened at the end of episode 3. When Jordan spilled out almost everything to everybody. And what did they do? They spun it as if it was a lie and that he's actually working with Starlighters and that he's just making it up for attention or whatever. I don't know. But we know the truth. We know the reality. But yeah, it's a big old lie. You told all these lies, and so Vought's got this whole spin going around so that everybody, for the most part, is believing these stories. And then the other consequence for what Jordan did at the end of the previous episode was to stage this huge fight between Jordan and Marie, because they're the two top students at Godolkin and they're going to fight to prove their top position, whatever, to go along with the raging anger and frustration going around the school because of the spin that Vought has been doing in the first place. All right, so that's enough about just the little brief what happened in episode 4. Now we're going to go ahead and watch this commercial or advertisement, trailer, teaser, whatever you want to call it. I think it's only like 30 seconds or less for the coming episode, episode 5. And I still don't know what the episode is called, so I don't even have that to figure out what might be happening.
You and me.
Hold on. I forgot to do. I gotta change scenes. There we go. All right. What is it doing?
You and me back to your training. Unless you want you and your friends to join Kate?
Join Kate where?
Elmira.
What the fuck do we do?
Cypher believes I'm this powerful weapon. Let's at least use it to do something good.
Oh, fuck. Hold your...
Okay.
Hey, my parlay just hit on Hard Rock Bet.
You withdraw yet?
Money's already in my account.
What's this?
It's almost as fast as
No,
the
I don't
valet.
want
I mean, it is.
this, but I will do that. All right, let's go ahead back to the live screen. Okay, so they're going to be shoving Kate in Elmira. That's fucked up. Like, she's already got a severe head injury. Her powers are messed up right now. And she's just slowly starting to get them back. Like, she needs to be working on it, but they're not gone. They're not completely gone, and it's early on. She has every opportunity to get her powers back. Maybe not fully, but I think they could get a lot better than we were seeing with him, with her, trying to push that one guy and him fucking the garden gnome. Oh my goodness. All right. So. Yeah, that was interesting. I do wonder if it's all a complete setup, though. We'll talk about that later when I get to the stuff about part 5, episode 5. All right, so the bests and worsts. All right, so hold on. I have to try to remember which ones I had for best scenes versus best actors and actresses. Okay, so the best scene to me, this is the one that I liked the most. Was I think Emma decided that her superhero name would be Bushmaster when the Bushmaster used her fabulous bush to wrap her hair around the handle on that pipe to stop the water from flowing. I loved that. Like, it wasn't grotesque or sick or anything. Like, they could really gone really gross and nasty. It is GenV universe. It is GenV. It is boys universe. It could have gone really freaking horribly nasty, and I didn't feel like it did, but it did make it like this is a cool superpower, whereas before, I wouldn't have necessarily been thinking that it was cool, like the idea of controlling your pubic hair, but like you get plenty of growth out of it, and you get like really a lot of control over it. I thought that was cool. That was my favorite scene. Worst favorite scene. I should have wrote these down because like I keep losing them. I have a head injury, and I'm also perimenopausal, so like some of my brain ain't working all that grand. Let's go on to the worst person on the episode. And I'm going to do this time. I'm going to try not to do a lot of overlap. I don't like it when I say this person's the worst person this time and then I do it again later. So I am going to try to make sure that I have different people. And as far as I recall, this is a different person. So the first time I said it was Sam. Sam wasn't even on this episode. To me, the worst person, the worst character in this episode was Cypher. What he was doing was so fucking fucked up and manipulative. There are signs every now and then that he really seems to care and that he really seems to want what's best, at least for Marie, but not necessarily anybody else. I take that, him seemingly caring about Marie as, because she is his baby, so to speak, because of Odessa, because of the Odessa project, and she came from the Odessa project. He birthed her, literally, like brought her into the world, and he seems to have been a major part in the Odessa project. So to me, it's that this was always very important to him, and she is part of that project, and to him this is very important, and so he's going to take care of her. The rest of them, I don't know, but I still see a lot of it as just manipulation, just really manipulation. The fact that they got it wrong about his powers, that wasn't surprising to me at all. I had extreme doubts from the beginning when she said that he had no powers. But I do think the fact that she said she detected no V in him may be right. It may not be, but it may be right that maybe there is no V in him. And that made me wonder, is he already, did he already have power without being injected with anything? So that's my thoughts on the matter. I have heard other people say similar things. Phone. Hold on a minute.
Call from Senator Moody. Call from Senator Moody.
Who the hell is Senator Hootie? Anyway.
Call from Senator Moody. Call from Senator Moody. Call from Senator Moody.
Bye. Okay. Lost track of what I was thinking about. But anyway, yeah, Cypher, worst character on the episode. Best character on the episode. Gosh. I'm gonna have to wing it because I've lost track of who I was originally going to say was the best character, which is weird because I did have it, and it wasn't even that long ago that I was thinking about it. So I'm gonna go with Marie. I'm pretty sure that is not who I had originally picked. I'm sorry about that. But, what I can think of off the top of my head, she has really been, supportive of Jordan and really trying to help Jordan get through. And Marie was able to move those bags. She did not get the first one moved without breaking it, but the rest of them she did. And she did not kill Jordan, nor did she accidentally break Jordan's blood bag. Thank God. Holy fucking hell. What the hell? That would have been awful. Okay. Worst scene. Oh my God. The fucking toilet scene when Emma's stuck in the toilet and we get to see Cypher's fucking ass and balls all just fucking hanging there. Yeah, that was... I heard a lot of people that are like, this is not something that I want to see. I know, it's the fucking boys universe. It's GenV. They do stuff like this. It's a perfectly normal scene to have in this show. But yeah, for me, that was like, oh my fucking God. Ugh, gross. I am very glad that Emma got the fuck out of there, because what the hell? Holy shit. Okay, let's see. We did best and worst actors and scenes. Okay. Now, I know I had written on my information, I wrote this a while back. Some of the information that I have in my description, I wrote when I started this. Some of it I changed it up a little bit, but I wrote something about like who's going to be who's worthy of a redemption or unworthy of a redemption. And I think because I do every now and then see these little glimpses of Cypher seeming to sort of give a shit, and he doesn't seem to be like trying to throw everybody in Elmira. I do not like the fact that they put Kate in Elmira. I think that was the wrong decision. But there's been a lot of things that could happen that he could have easily like tossed them somewhere, and I'm still very mad at him. I still don't fucking trust him at all, but maybe they could try to do some kind of redemption arc for him, just because of some of those little glimpses that I've seen of possibly humanity. But like I said, it may just be because Odessa was his baby, and Marie is part of Project Odessa, and that's why he seems to be caring about her and treating her the way he does. But we'll see later on. I still really don't trust the guy at all. I know somebody one of the shows I'm gonna show at the very end, so after I do the episode 5 predictions and talk about Cypher, I have a video to show, and it's pretty long. I'm only going to show it because I thought it was pretty decent video, and I wouldn't mind just showing it just for like an end of the stream video. So if you want to watch, you can watch. There may be spoilers. I will warn you about that. There may be spoilers throughout my my stuff, because I don't tend to filter myself a whole lot when I find things out. But I know that when I watched it, they were trying to make some predictions about what might happen in the future, not necessarily on episode 5, but in the future of the show. And but what was it? They said something about thinking that maybe Cypher is actually a good guy. And I don't think so. I don't think he's a fucking good guy. I think he is a bad guy. But like I said, still reserve the right for him to possibly make some kind of redemption of himself later on. I just don't think I think maybe they're grasping at straws, or maybe they're looking at things very differently than what a lot of other people are looking at. Okay, so I guess we are now to the episode 5 and Cypher thing. Okay, so I'm going to start with the whole word Cypher, the meaning Cypher. This is how I started looking into this earlier, before I even started watching episode 4. I looked up the word Cypher. Let's see, where do I have it? Is it here? Yeah. Okay. So there were certain things that kept coming up, no matter what dictionary, what online dictionary I was using, or the AI overview, or what. There were certain things that kept coming up about, using encryption and stuff like that, coding, things like that. But there was a specific thing I found on one of the dictionaries that I thought might be very applicable to this situation, and especially after watching episode 4. Let me see. I know it's I didn't find the exact thing again, but I found something similar. So let me see. Where is it? That might be it. Okay, so this one. A person of no influence or imperson. In some contexts, cipher can refer to a person who is a mere figurehead or lacks significance. Now, the definition that I had seen the first time I looked it up, it was on, I think, one of the European dictionaries or something to that effect. But when I looked it up this time, I didn't find it. So it was like they were claiming like the person was almost like a puppet, like an empty suit. Like there's nothing in there. They're just being used as a puppet. And after watching episode 4, that's definitely what that scene reminded me of with the fight, was Cypher using Jordan like a puppet, like an empty suit. And that comment he kept using about humans being blood bags, same freaking thing. And he used that same freaking statement during that fight when he was describing him using Jordan, making Jordan like say the things he was saying, do the things he was doing. So yeah, it felt like he's puppeting him. He's using him like a puppet. It also reminded me of Gollum. A Gollum is like an empty vessel, basically, that is controlled by somebody else. So that kind of thing. But yeah, this one, a person who is a mere figurehead or lacks significance. And then they have another definition on here that says a playable character in a video game. And then it gives examples of video games. But yeah, that's one of the things that like really struck me when I was looking up the definitions. I'll go ahead and read some of these others. So the algorithm, cipher, an algorithm or series of steps used for encryption, coding, and decryption of information. And that kind of cipher was the main thing that I was thinking of before I looked this up. A circle of dancers or rappers who take turns performing individual verses or dances to exchange styles and energy within the group. That I wouldn't have even known about. I would have had no idea about that. In data and technology, a declarative query language for graph databases such as those used by Neo4j, designed for querying relationships and patterns in data. Okay, and then that video game reference that I had already said. Other meanings. Royal cipher, a monogram often featuring the initials of monarch's name, the title, used on government buildings and documents. So I definitely wouldn't have thought of that and didn't even know that was a thing. And then the person who has no value or lacks significance, a figurehead. Yeah. Let me see if there was anything else. An algorithm for performing an encryption or decryption. Yeah, so to me, cipher, the main thing I knew about ciphers is codes and puzzles and like making things so that you can't tell exactly what they mean unless you know the code. So it's like a coded language. So that's the main thing that I knew about cipher. Okay, but I've also like watched quite a few of the reactions and a couple of the guesses as to who Cypher is and who the guy in the stasis chamber, whatever you want to call it, who he was, the burnt guy. And a lot of people are saying Dr. Godolkin, the scientist that burned up at the beginning. And I think that's likely, but I can't be sure. To me, he looks thicker and more beefy, especially for somebody who's been half dead, sitting in this chamber ever since. But what the hell do I know? Like, maybe they just didn't get it quite right, or maybe, trying to put all the freaking burns on him or whatever makes him look a little bit more bulky than what I would think he would be. But I don't know. A lot of people are saying, though, that they think he is Dr. Godolkin. Some people are saying they think Cypher is Dr. Godolkin. I suppose it's possible, but I don't think so. And then, what was the other idea? That the burnt old guy is actually the Cypher, and that he is using Cypher's body to puppet him around and to puppet other people as well. I don't know about that. That just seems a little far-fetched to me, but it could be. It's possible. I just feel like if Cypher was telling the truth, and that is his father, then there could be some genetic reason for him being like he is. That could be why Marie was not able to read his V in his blood. Maybe he doesn't have V in his blood. It could be that he does have V in his blood, but he's able to mask that because of his powers. Who knows? I think next episode, though, this episode coming up tonight, tomorrow morning, whatever it is for your time frame, I think we are going to find out more about whether the burnt old guy is controlling things, or Cypher is controlling things, or if it's a little bit of both. I do not believe, like what some people think, that maybe Cypher is totally just a blood bag and the burnt guy is totally controlling him and he has no real control over. I don't think that at all. But I could be wrong. I'm not like some genius level theorist or anything like that, so what the hell would I know? I'm just going by what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking. Now what else is going to happen? We already saw in that trailer that Kate is going to Elmira and that the group is going to be trying to get her out. So I will be looking forward to watching that. I hope you'll be looking forward to watching that. I think that will be awesome sauce if they get her out. I really, really don't like the fact that she's in there with that fucking brain injury. And no, it's terrible. I don't like the fact that he put her in there. And I think it was Cypher that put her in there. Like, she was just doing what she felt she needed to do to help her friends out. And he doesn't seem to be taking that. He didn't seem to be taking that tactic with the rest of them, yet he took it. And maybe he's still frustrated that she doesn't have her full powers back. But that's not, like, she has some of her powers back. That's not the way to get them working right again. You're going to take special interest in Marie and give her special training so that she can enhance her powers. You can give Kate a little bit of time so that she can work on getting her powers back. But whatever. What do I know? I don't. And I don't think it was anybody else that did it, because who the hell else had a fucking axe to grind with her right now other than that group? And the group, I think, even though they have not been in agreement with Kate at all, that they attempted to murder her, I think they feel a little bit guilty that the way things happened. So I definitely would not see them. And plus, it wouldn't make sense for any of them to try to put her in Elmira and then work with all of them to get her out. But anyway, okay, so those are my thoughts on this coming episode. Learning more about Cypher, learning more about his dad. Some people don't know if it's his dad. Some people think it is his dad. So I'm saying quotes dad just in case it's not his dad. His powers and what he's doing with putting Kate in there. And the other thing I was going to say about episode 5 that I thought of is that what if the whole thing with him putting Kate in Elmira was intentionally to get them using their powers in a better way, to get them to just another one of these tests and one of these like training to get them to use their powers more and differently and better and things like that. That's kind of my thought, is maybe this is actually intentional. Like he did it not because he wants to lock Kate up in Elmira, but because he wants Marie and maybe the others in the group to actually really use their brain and really try to work with their powers to like reach their powers in different ways and stuff like that and try to level up. Maybe. That was my thoughts on that. Okay, so this last video I'm going to play, I think it's here.
Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV.
Sorry. That is not it. Is it this one? I do believe this might be it.
Be the world's first true
Yep.
GenV just
All right, so let me put it back on the trailer screen. All right, let's go ahead and watch this. This is 18 minutes. There will be spoilers. More spoilers than I usually put in my thing, so just keep that in mind.
GenV just gave us a big tease that Cypher is actually a good guy, and he might be the world's first true superhuman. Welcome back to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in Season 2, Episode 4 of GenV. Quick disclaimer, guys, this show is really political. It's a modern satire of the time we live in right now. So we are going to talk about the political commentary in this show and what the creators intended with it. We're not actually trying to get on the soapbox and say what we think, we're just interpreting the satire in the show. Be nice to each other in the comments. Remember, everyone has a mother. We open with Vought News, hosted by Firecracker, and she says,
"We're about to enter the Gaytrix."
And a conservative political commentator referencing the Matrix while referring to a transgender person is probably a nod to Lana and Lily Wachowski, the trans women who created the Matrix trilogy. You know, since Vought wants Jordan to make being bi-gender easier to understand by calling themselves trans.
It's transtastic!
But notice when they show Kate, she's listed as a real woman, as a way of implying that Jordan is not a real woman, that instead she is fake. This ties into the recurring theme of this episode I'll talk about in just a bit. Outside the school, we see statues of alums A-Train and Crimson Countess, and inside we see that giant portrait of Homelander with resist graffiti. Now, I didn't mention this in the last video, but the graffiti being yellow is of course a nod to Starlight's costume, just like the yellow shirts, signs, and hoodies that her supporters wear. Now, last episode ended with Jordan taking the blame for Kate's death, and now we see how Vought's spin machine has gone into full force by calling them a liar and keeping up the cover story that the Starlighters are responsible. Now, at the rally, people were cheering for Jordan's faux trans identity.
It's transtastic!
But now, influencer Justine is using a dog whistle criticism of trans people, claiming she's upset
Right,
that
they
Jordan
were
was the wrong
already
gender when
yelling
they entered their bathroom.
before that speech was over.
Data everywhere, and not an
And
insight to
what
see.
Justine was
It's
doing
overwhelming. Customer usage stats, dashboard data, leads, campaign data. It's a lot of data, and sometimes it doesn't turn into.
Jordan wants to talk about how she wanted to be number one so bad, but now,
This school, everything is so fake.
and that is the theme of this season so far. It's real versus fake. How we actually feel versus how we appear to feel. Our entire culture is in a constant state of flux where the truth is always changing depending on your personal algorithm. And social media can literally warp your perception of reality depending on what filters you apply to your Instagram photos. So this theme, fake versus real, is especially relevant for young people today who are constantly being targeted by brands and corporations who are feeding them bullshit to sell them things. Now, this whole conversation about what's real or not real or digital versus real life is one of the reasons I love doing our live shows. So we had a whole live show tour over the past year or so, and it was a lot of fun. We went to different cities, we had some sellout crowds, we did some cool stuff we just can't do on the channel. Like I did exclusive breakdowns, we had meet and greets guests, but the best part was meeting you guys face to face, taking your questions, and just being in the same room with you. I feel like on YouTube, we never really get to be who we are because we're always like reading from a script, and just being in the same space as you guys and geeking out together is what makes these shows special. And that's why I'm very happy and also a little sad that our very last show of the tour is going to be at New York Comic Con and City Winery on Friday, October 10th. So tickets for this are on sale now. You can find them below, and I really hope you can make it. It's so much fun. We tried to schedule the show for a time when people would have been walking around Comic-Con all day and their feet would hurt, so then they would come see us. And we're also going to be wrapping up a story that we told like through all the live shows that involves Paul from Heavy Spoilers. It's goofy, it's fun, it's stuff you don't get to see on the channel. Again, ticket links are below. I really hope you guys can make it. Now, back to GenV. Think about how smartphones have ruined our ability to be ourselves in public. People are less inclined to dance because the video might just get posted to the internet for the world to see. Therefore, we all walk around like we're personal influencers and we're portraying a fake self. And in The Boys, we see the main characters try to use this false reality to weaponize against Vought, like Marie's social video. But Vought is always ready to reshape reality to fit the narrative that they want to be told. Case in point, the kids have to project false emotions to the public and hide how they really feel. For instance, Marie and Jordan are in love, but Vaught's narrative is that they hate each other and they have to fight in a cage match. Now, the match is being marketed by Seth Reed, who has appeared several times in The Boys. We first saw him in a support group for people who were abused by Supes.
It snapped off.
He was also one of the people who had the idea to use Maeve's sexuality as a marketing tool.
Grand marshals at the New York and Chicago Pride because you are two proud lesbians.
You know Maeve is bi, right?
And remember, A-Train asked him for help rebranding back in season 3.
Is that a video game about the slave trade?
Some powerful stuff.
It's really something.
Seth also says that Marie is
one of the good ones,
which is just like, that's language that white people used to call some black people. It's overly racist, and having a black man say it to Marie, though, is very clever. It's showing that in this world, there are even more lines and divisions that divide society. And now we see that he's come up with t-shirts that play on Jordan's gender. My pronouns are kick and ass, and he has made these transphobic shirts to appeal to the Homelander fan. Again, the corporation in this show has one main ideology: making money. And until Homelander's takeover, everything else was just for show.
It's transtastic!
But Seth didn't just design the merch, he crafted a whole story for their fight. So he sounds like a boxing promoter or a writer for the WWE who knows that the story behind the fight is more important than the fight itself. And just like the WWE, the fight outcome is already written.
Two powerhouses, but only one can be number one.
By the way, Bloodbender's a really cool name.
Yeah, like it's a full moon and she's a very skilled waterbender.
Cypher also says,
the people want red meat, they want to see your ass kicked, and you will oblige.
And this is a term used to describe when a politician takes an action to make their base happy, and usually it refers to conservative politicians. And then notice this moment.
I couldn't kick Jordan's ass even if I wanted to.
When Marie says she can't beat Jordan, look at the disdain on his face. He's pissed at Marie because he needs her to believe in herself to unlock her full power. And when he yells,
Jordan would issue some sort of statement.
You do not have a choice!
This is the moment when it hit me. This guy's a secret hero. He is pissed at them for making his life harder. He's already trying to keep Homelander away from the school, and now he's being forced to create this matchup. Now, I have not watched ahead, I don't know this for sure, but I think that Vought actually created Marie for a specific reason, and that Cypher is the key part of this plan that I'll talk about later on. Although, he sure does act like a villain, like he threatens people like Magneto and he spews anti-human propaganda. Magneto always preached that mutants were above humankind, and he considers his students to be soldiers first, and this is exactly like Cypher in the show. Also, notice the stained glass window here in the dean's office. Most of the panes are the Godalkin crest, but these others might represent alumni or prominent heroes. Homelander, Crimson Countess, maybe the scales are Lamplighter, and the shield is a possible nod to Soldier Boy. Notice that when they go see Kate, Jordan tucks their hand into their sleeve, just in case Kate decides to use her mind control powers on them. And this takes us to Emma bonding with Hannah and Allie, who admits that she can manipulate her hair like Medusa. Now, while she's comparing her powers to Medusa from Greek myth, there is an Inhuman in Marvel Comics called Medusa who can control and manipulate her hair.
Oh yeah, like in that awesome TV show. Boy, I hope her hair grows back in season 2.
And notice that they have Queen Maeve posters in their room from Dawn of the Dead and her solo movie.
That's an older Easter egg, sir, but it checks out.
Allie's brother enters through the dorm window, even though last season windows were thought to be barred up. Now, this was supposed to keep the kids from jumping out, but then it was later revealed that it was actually to keep them trapped inside in case they went ballistic. And yet, Allie can just open up her window, and maybe this is because the school is now embracing a more pro-soup agenda, and they want the flyers to be able to fly out whenever they want. They hatch a plan to dig up dirt on Cypher, just like how they broke into Dean Shetty's office last season to learn why she didn't like soups. And then we get a look at the Vought marketing machine and how they distort reality in their promo on Vought Sports 3, which is a play on ESPN 2 and their sister network, ESPN 8.
Live from Las Vegas, it's the Las Vegas International Dodgeball Open here on ESPN 8, the Ocho. If it's almost a sport, we've got it here.
We see past matchups, Maeve versus the Deep, billed as Battle of the Sexes. So it's likely that Maeve was the first hero powerful enough to break through into male sports entertainment, kind of like China wrestling in the WWE. And the title of the card, Battle of the Sexes, was the name of the 1973 exhibition match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs, and King won in 3 sets. Similarly, Maeve would eviscerate the Deep in a straight-up fight. There's also Eagle Archer versus Blind Spot. Now, Eagle Archer is a play on Hawkeye and Green Arrow, and he recruited the Deep into the Church of the Collective way back in season 2. And Blind Spot was recruited to be into the 7 until Homelander voted no.
What happens if...
Yeah, I don't remember any Blind Spot.
I don't know.
I watched a lot of
But notice, no one is facing off with Homelander, and they show that he's referred to as one of the gods.
And some legends become gods.
Again, we're seeing how religious faith is being used to make Homelander more powerful throughout the season. Jordan started off the season holding grudges against Marie and Kate, but in both relationships, their long history together helps them move past any problems. In the case of Marie, she loved her, and with Kate, well, they both lost 2 of their best friends, and they bond over their memories. And this moment when they say,
I think I might be mad at you forever. I hate that.
Says a lot about the power of forgiveness. Like when you resent or hate someone, you carry that burden, not them. So forgiveness of others really is a gift to yourself. It's a real emotion, unlike the fake hatred that Marie and Jordan are forced to show in the match. Again, running theme of the episode, real versus fake. And remember, Kate's powers are also not completely gone. When she was comatose, she used her powers subconsciously. And here we see that she can still influence people, kind of.
You must be really sympathetic to gnomes.
But I can't unsee that.
And frankly, this is a really good idea from a writing standpoint. Kate was just a little bit too powerful, and nerfing her powers gives her a more compelling arc this season. The song playing at the Dean's vinyl is Cherished by the Association. Now, the lyrics are about wishing you can love and hold someone. In this case, it's Cypher's dad who is trapped in the Iron Lung. Now, we got some theories on this guy I'll talk about later, but I'm also wondering, could he be the Flame On guy from the opening, or could he be Thomas Godalkin himself? In the Danger Room, Cypher tries to inspire Marie by basically repurposing quotes from Yoda.
Do that.
Thinking and feel it.
Unlearn what you have learned. You must feel the force around you.
And I love his response.
Ease up, Yoda.
Fair enough. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then he tells her,
Drop the hand. The hand doesn't do anything. Feel it.
which, by the way, in Star Wars is completely true. Jedi do reach out their hands because that physical motion helps them to visualize a greater connection between their bodies and the Force and the world around them, but they don't actually need to move their bodies in order to use the Force. And in this universe, we did see Victoria Newman use her hemokinetic powers without her hands. All she had to do was use her eyes to start popping heads. So while Marie practices with her abilities, Emma practices with hers. And it's important that this is happening on the drama stage. In the finale last season, this is where Sam yelled at her and made her shrink. And that's when we realized that eating or purging actually had nothing to do with her powers and that they're all in her head. And then she tells this story about Daniel Day-Lewis.
When Daniel Day-Lewis wants to cry, he just remembers when he sat on his balls.
Gaza is at a tipping point. The adults who are malnourished.
It's actually how he won his Oscar.
Now, I Googled this, I researched, I'm pretty sure it's not true. I think it's all from a joke that Will Ferrell made about the prosthetic testicles he wore in Step Brothers being modeled after Daniel Day-Lewis's. Meanwhile, Cypher reveals who the goat is named after.
What if I kill Elon?
That's why we named them for assholes.
Named after Elon Musk, the richest man in the world and a Republican mega donor. So if the show does have a liberal bent, this is another clue that Cypher is a secret good guy. This is also when he reveals that he is one step ahead of everyone.
I know,
To me, that would just be another
that I was at
reason
your
to
delivery.
say,
You figured out
"Oh,
you're part of something
liberal,
called Odessa.
And he caps off this revelation with
The whole point
liberal,
of this school
evil,
was to
whatever. Like,
So it's pretty clear that Vought was trying to create Marie, or that Godolkin was trying without Vought's knowledge. In both cases, it seems like they wanted to create a soup who could defeat Homelander.
Yeah, right. More powerful than Homelander.
And I think the reason for this is so they can have a backup in case Homelander goes crazy. In the comics, they did create a clone of Homelander and they dressed him up as Black Noir. So he is always close to the big guy in case he needs to kill him. And I think that's what Marie is. Last season, it was revealed that the school wasn't a place for soups to study, it was a place to study soups. But what if the real purpose was behind that, to secretly create a soup who would be a check on Homelander's powers? Now, if so, it would be important this person would be kept a secret. So Homelander could not find out about Project Odessa. There's also some support here because last season Victoria Newman said she was the person who got Marie out of Red River and into God U.
I couldn't let them ship you off to their adult facility, so I got you into Godolkin.
Now remember, Victoria Newman was raised by Stan Edgar, who was the CEO of Vought before Newman conspired to get him out of that position. So it could be that Stan Edgar was already looking out for Marie, but after he was outed as CEO, Victoria Newman kept watch on her and then made sure that she got into university. Anyways, Cypher calls the next goat Julia Fox, named after a controversial influencer who I had to look up for this video, and thank God I've already forgotten her name. Later, Emma is drinking Pop Claw juice, named after A-Train's ex-girlfriend that he murdered to keep quiet. And the drink is also probably a play on the alcoholic drink White Claw. And this is when Marie reveals that Cypher has no compound V in his blood.
But then how does he have powers and stuff?
Well, we've got a big theory about that we'll talk about later on, but you know, it's also possible he's just the world's first superhuman, as in he's not technically a soup, he's an all-natural superpowered person. Now, if his dad was Thomas Godolkin, he could be the result of genetic experiments. He could be the original Odessa, a check to literally control soups like Homelander. It can also be that Godolkin broke away from Vought and is secretly creating Project Odessa to oppose them, but I doubt it, since Project Odessa was on a bulletin board in the lab where Homelander was raised. Now, the Vought International Hotel and Spa is actually the Fairmont Royal York Hotel in New York, and the broadcast is being co-anchored by Vicor, who fought Marie in episode 2 this season. Backstage, Jordan talks about how their worst nightmare was always not fitting in, and how they always had to hide who they really are. And the chants outside seem to prove their fears right.
So much like so many of my nightmares.
One, those are just the kind of chants you hear at wrestling matches. But they also demonstrate how mob mentality, witch hunts, and cancel culture are a genuine fear for people now. Like I said earlier, it's hard to say or do anything on your phone without the fear that somebody's going to pick it up and cancel you. So Jordan's worries about people hating them are only amplified by the digital age. And they further raise the need for them to be fake instead of real. I mean, after all, they just saw that when you show your real self and not the fake projection people expect, they turn from loving you
It's transtastic.
to hating you. But Marie hits home the theme of the episode.
This whole
echoing the
school
narrative
is
that
fake.
they want to
But you're real.
While Vought is deep faking their faces to promote the fake fight, Marie actually sees the real Jordan. So there's a few small details here, like how Kate smiles reflexively at the cameras, or how Hannah can still phasing power, but unlike Shadowcat, she can't phase her clothes. So the show continues to do this. They give people powers, like growing or shrinking, but with today's technological limitations. So in the comics, Pym particles shrink clothes, but in the show, it just means that Emma is naked when she uses her powers. Before the mission, Emma gives her her new hero name,
Bushmaster,
which is already a character in Marvel Comics who also appeared in Luke Cage Season 2, but they have completely different powers, and let's leave it at that. And check out the attention to detail in this sequence. Outside in the lobby, we see this guy holding a sign that says Team Bloodbender, and then we see the same guy in the crowd holding the same sign. Seems like a small detail, but it shows how the creators are really working to make this feel like a cohesive universe. They mentioned that Marie made the top 10 as a freshman, which happened in episode 1 after she saved this woman at a bar. And this is a cool detail. They're fighting in an octagon, like a UFC fight, while upstairs, Cypher and Kate are waging a mental battle with octagons on the ceiling above them. And it turns out that Cypher was actually fighting in both battles when he starts to mind control Jordan. So when he controls Jordan, it's the ultimate expression of the episode's theme. This is not the real Jordan. This is a puppet that he can control. This is a fake projection of Jordan. This also ties into the show's overall theme of adult power structures controlling children for their own ends, whether it's training the kids to be influencers for the Vought agenda, or experimenting them on the underground lab. The corporation wants to control the kids. Cypher even calls Jordan
a neat puppet
with no strings.
Which is similar to how he described the bags of blood earlier.
We're all just blood bags, walking, talking blood bags.
Now the tension in this scene is great, and we're all scared that Jordan's gonna pop just like Elon Musk. But all of this turns out to be just another test. Cypher needed Marie to face someone she loves in order to learn to control her powers. But here's a theory for you. Maybe the reason Cypher doesn't have Compound V in his blood is because this is not the real Cypher. Maybe this is just a human body that is being mind controlled by someone else. Maybe even being controlled by the man in the iron lung. So when Cypher called this person Dad, he was kind of right. And maybe that mental control is what keeps Kate from reading him. After all, if the real mind is far away, Kate wouldn't be able to read this person because this person we think is Cypher is just a vessel. Now, if this is true, it would mean that Cypher really is like Professor X, whose telepathic abilities can allow him to mind control people. And guys, big shout out to Ethan Inc., who co-wrote this video. You can find his links below. So what did you guys think of the episode? Who is the man in the iron lung? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, or at me on Twitter, Blue Sky Threads, or most especially on our free to join Discord server. And if it's your first time here, welcome to the channel, bros. Good to see you. Please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush.
All right, that is all I've got for you today. I think we're done with our live stream. I'll go ahead and put it on the end screen, which I don't think I usually do, but whatever. Bye. I'll see you when I see ya.